Life doesn't come with a manual, and the hardest lessons are often the ones that are most important. These 10 lessons that I'm going to share with you have completely changed my life and will help guide you to have the best 2025 you could possibly have and go into the new year with confidence. Welcome back to Be Unafraid podcast. My name is Fortune, and today we're going to dive into part one of a three-part series that is going to help you take on 2025 with confidence. In this episode, I'm going to share with you the 10 life lessons that I have learned in my own personal life in my journey in mixed martial arts, as well as my decade-long career in corporate and now working for a top global company. And these lessons are going to help you go into 2025 with a clear vision and mission in mind and will help you be more confident in accomplishing your goals and objectives. In part two of this series, I'm going to reveal my 4 principles that I use to crush it in 2025 and how you can use those same principles to really start to ratchet things up and get things done. In part 3, we're going to bring it all together and I will introduce to you the framework that is going to help you craft your vision and mission so that you move forward with confidence and you know exactly what you need to work on to make your vision come true. So make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss the rest of this series. Let's jump right in. So to give you some context on this video, I'm 30 years old and recently I've actually been reflecting back on my life and how I've gotten to where I'm at right now and some of the things that I have accomplished, some of the things that I've failed at and overcome. And I decided to sit down and to start to brainstorm some of the most important lessons that I have learned and really nail down the top 10 lessons that have helped me to get to where I am right now. Jumping into the first one is to be grateful for what you have. There's a story to this point, and it starts with this. A couple of weeks ago, I went on a vacation to the American West Coast and did the Highway 1 drive right alongside the West Coast, where I had the opportunity to rebalance myself, be in nature, and to really recenter my mind, body, and spirit. And it was a wonderful time. I had an awesome time, and it really helped me to rebalance. When I got back recently, my manager asked me, what was the highlight of my trip? Very easy question to answer, but I didn't have an answer for that. I found myself now for the first time after being back in 3 weeks, reflecting on what exactly was my highlight on that trip. When I was in the trip, I was all in. But as soon as I came back and started the corporate grind and the side hustle grind and my routine, I completely forgot about the trip and didn't even take time to reflect and be grateful for even having the ability to make that kind of trip and to be in that kind of beautiful scenery. And that started to get me to think that for someone like me, if you're anything like I am and you're a high performer and you're constantly moving and constantly looking for that next thing and accomplishing your goals, there's a tendency to not look back and reflect and be grateful for your successes and be grateful for your experiences and be grateful for the people in your life and just be grateful for where you are in life, because you're always looking for where that next big thing is. And when you do find it, you become so laser focused on that thing that you forget to slow down and take it all in. The fact that I didn't have an answer for what was the biggest highlight, the thing that I remember the most from that trip, really made me sit down and think that I need to be more grateful in life and I need to reflect on my accomplishments. I need to look at how I've gotten to where I've gotten in my career and be thankful for that. Look at my health and be thankful that I'm a healthy person and I'm able to work out and be in the fitness world as much as I am and able to practice mixed martial arts as much as I am, and be thankful for the relationships that I have, the people that I have in my life, the friends and family that I have, because life is limited and our experiences here on this planet is what we should remember, because that's really the whole point of it. It should be about the journey and not necessarily the end. The mistake that a high performer like me makes is making it about the end, about the goal, and not taking time to enjoy the journey. And then looking back once I've accomplished that goal and realizing that I completely missed the whole part of enjoying the process. And the goal doesn't feel as good. So now I start to look for the next goal because I really didn't take time to enjoy that journey. Being grateful is something that I'm trying to implement in my life. And I encourage you to implement that in yours as well as you tackle on your goals and objectives, especially the more you accomplish, the higher you go in your career. And if you're building a business, if you're running a business, it's very hard to be grateful in the moment. And it's very easy to get caught up in accomplishing the goal rather than enjoying the process. So I'm trying to make that more of a conscious thing. And that is a life lesson that I've learned, that if you really want a sense of fulfillment in life, enjoy the process as well. Number 2 is something that I've really embodied over the last year, and it is to define your values and live by them. Meaning that find the core things that you believe in. In my 20s, I was up and going, and it was always about finding the next thing. It was always about tackling the next goal and not really thinking about being grounded in life. And as I got more into my late 20s and now being 30 years old, it's starting to become more and more important to now become grounded and to really define a set of values and core principles that I live by, because those values and principles are the things that are going to be the foundations for not only your life, your relationships, but also for the business that you're going to be building, for the brand that you're going to be building, for the career that you're going to be in. Defining those values and principles is going to allow you to take ownership of that, because if you don't define your own personal brand, people are going to define it for you. And if you don't live by a certain values and principles, then you're really going to be all over the place. One of my favorite quotes is by Eliud Kipchoge, who is a gold medalist marathon winner. And Eliud said that only the disciplined ones are free in life, meaning that if you are not disciplined, if you're not grounded in a set of values and principles, you're a slave to your moods and a slave to your passions. This is what Eliud talked about when he was talking about self-discipline. You're going to be all over the place, and when things happen in your life, if you don't have a core set of values that you lean on in your decision making, things are going to feel very sporadic. Things are going to feel like they're all over the place. So when you define your core values, you can use those values to navigate through tough times, to stay focused and to make better decisions. And for me, right now, I've identified my 3 core values, and that is courage, confidence, and relentless optimism. Courage to start things that I'm afraid to do. The confidence to keep going and to keep pushing and to trust in my abilities and to trust in myself. And the relentless optimism to always think about the bright side of everything and always understand that things will work out. Those three core values guide me every single day in my career. They guide me in this journey to build a personal brand. They guide me in mixed martial arts. Every time I come across a difficult situation or a difficult emotion, I try to go back to my values and principles, and I try to remember exactly why I'm trying to build courage, why I'm trying to build confidence, and why being relentlessly optimistic in a world that can be very hard to be optimistic in is super important in accomplishing and living life with confidence. So I challenge you to really start to think about what are some potential values that you can create for yourself. And I really like to narrow it down to 3 because it's easy to remember them and it's easy to reference back to them. So if you can think of 3 things that you want to live by in your life, and the question that I ask myself is, what do you want to become? You yourself. What do you see yourself as? Make those your values. I want to become a courageous person. I want to become a confident person. I want to become a relentlessly optimistic person. Those 3 things have become my values. And you start to become those things. You start to embody those things, and you start to see those things in everything that you do. And other people will start to see those things, and you will start to attract people that share the same common values and principles. And that will result in growth and development. Third lesson I have learned, especially working in corporate now and now working to build a personal brand and creating content online, is to build a network, meaning that surround yourself with mentors, coaches, and people that support you, that support your vision, and that support your ambition. Those are very critical. Going at it alone is something that, trust me, I know all about, because as an introvert, as a high performer, as someone who's very ambitious and sort of a solo type of person, I think that I can do everything by myself. I think that I can accomplish everything by myself and go at it alone. I was like that for many years. And when I got to about my mid-20s and I started to dip into those areas in corporate where now I'm tasting leadership positions and I'm starting to consider leadership positions and starting on the side to build a business and trying to build a personal brand, I realized that you really can't do those things alone. You need other people to help you. You need other people to support you. You need other people to tell you where you're going wrong. You need other people to guide you and help you know the things that you don't even know you don't know, let alone the things you don't know, but the things that you don't even know that you don't know. People that have done what you want to do, people that have accomplished and have gone through the things that you're going through or will go through in the future, they can be a gold mine of knowledge. And when you can get mentors, people who can help and guide you, and coaches who can help and guide you, as well as supportive friends and family around you, it's like lighting a fire on your rocket ship. You start to move so fast because now you have direction. Now you have a sense of where to go when you rely on those people. You now have a compass in your life that tells you when you're going north, when you're going south, east, and west. And when you go off course, the right people can help bring you right back onto the course. One of my favorite quotes is by Dan Pena, and one of his favorite catchphrases is, "Show me your friends and I will show you your future." Meaning that you are the sum of the 5 people around you. And I've always heard that. I've always heard that in my 20s. I heard that in college and university. I heard that all over the place. You are the sum of 5 people around you. And I really didn't take that very seriously because I've always thought I was my own person and I'm not like anybody else. But when I now really take an honest look, you start to realize that what that means is that the people around you influence you, whether you're conscious of it or not. The people that you hang out with, the people that you spend time with, you start to take on some of those characteristics and start to become like those people. So if you are around people that are negative, chances are you're going to have some of that in you. If you're around people that are lazy all the time and you consider that your people, you're probably going to be very similar in that aspect. The opposite is also true. If you are around people that are killing it, that are crushing it, that are accomplishing goals, that are fired up, and that are constantly building themselves up and building each other up, chances are you're going to become that person as well. So show me your friends and I'll show you your future has become one of my mantras and something that I repeat to myself. Who is in my network? Who are my friends? Who do I hang around with? Who do I listen to? Who do I go to for advice? I look at my own friends and I want to see my own future based off of those people that I'm around. So that is something that I learned is very important to identify early on and to find a crew that is for you, with you, and you're aligned in your vision and mission, and you are going to go a lot further than if you're trying to do it alone. My university professor of economics used to say this all the time. Learn from other people's mistakes because you never live long enough to make them yourself. Surround yourself with people that have been through life. Learn from them because it will only serve to make you better. Lesson number 4 is to redefine productivity, meaning that busyness, spending a lot of time and hours on something does not always equate to being more productive. It took me some time to really wrap my head around this and to really understand. And how I learned this is because I spent a lot of my early 20s and mid 20s thinking that if I just put in more hours than everybody else at work, I'm going to be a lot more productive and I'm going to get more things done and get promoted faster. Not necessarily how it works. Yes, putting in a lot of hours, you can potentially get a lot of things done. And that's because the hours that you put in matter. There are hours that you can spend on things that really are not value creating and really don't move the ball or move the needle forward that much. Those things make it feel like you're actually doing a lot of things. But in reality, when you look at the total project from a overview perspective, you're really not doing all that much. It's very easy to trick yourself into that mentality where you grind and you feel like you're doing a lot. You feel like you're doing a lot. A year goes by, 2 years goes by, 3, 4, 5 years goes by, and then you start to wonder, why am I not progressing? Why am I not accomplishing goals? Why am I not getting promoted? And that other person is. Why am I not building this business? How come I'm not able to build out my side hustle and make this certain amount of income, but other people are doing it? I see other people doing it that seem to be working less than me maybe, and I feel like I'm working more hours than them, but they're accomplishing those things that I want to accomplish and I'm not. That is because most of the time those people have focus. Those people understand deeply the primary things that drive their goal forward. So they typically identify a goal, a project, anything that they're working on. And they can look at that thing and say, here are the 5 things that I can do that will get me the most amount of progress. Here are the other 5 things that are nice to haves, other 5 things that I can work on, sure, will take up most of my time, but they're not really going to move the needle on this thing. So I have learned that identifying the primary things that move the needle and then identifying the secondary things that do really relate to that project or goal, but don't move the needle is very critical. And that's how successful people get things done, because they know the right things that move that goal. I made an episode where I break down my super simple productivity system, and it gets more into this aspect of the primary tasks, secondary tasks, and what I call the big one, which is now taking your primary tasks and really narrowing it down to just one primary task that you can work on today that will move the needle forward, as opposed to working on other things that really don't help you get things done. So check out that video. It's linked in the description. Key takeaway here is you need to work smarter, and to be more productive, work on smart things. Don't work on things that just waste time. Really sharpen your focus and get things done. Lesson number 5 is to protect your time, meaning that audit your time and set boundaries as to who you give your time to, what you give your time to, because there is one resource on this planet, on this earth, that we can never get back, and that is time. So when you give your time to other people and when you give your time to things in your life, make sure that those things are things that are going to give a return on your investment. I've learned that it's important that you identify the things that suck your time away versus things that are valuable and things that you can invest your time into that are actually going to result into something fruitful. There's a reason that on an airplane, they tell you, in case of an emergency, put your oxygen mask on first before you help the person next to you. Because if you're not able to get oxygen into your body, there's no way you're going to be able to help the person next to you get oxygen into their body. And if you try to sacrifice yourself for that person next to you when you yourself are not getting oxygen, both of you probably are not going to make it. That is a lesson that I've learned, is to take care of you, your time, who you give your time to, where you invest your time, because you are your number one commodity. And if you're not good, other people are not going to be good. But if you're good, you have your time protected, you're investing in the right things, you're going to have more energy to help other people. You're going to help more people, and you're even going to be able to do it even better because you're fired up to do it, as opposed to doing it from a perspective where you're burnt out, it's sucking energy out of you, and it feels like work to give time to other people, to give time to tasks, to give time in your job, to give time to creating a business, because you're not controlling where your time goes. The 6th life lesson is to validate yourself. This one's very important. Let me explain what I mean. By validate yourself, seek internal fulfillment instead of external validation. What you think about you is more important than what someone else thinks about you. This is something that holds a lot of people back, and it's held me back for so many years because I tend to value other people's opinion of me more than I valued my own opinion. And it wasn't until I started to value my own opinion more that really I started to be able to move forward and to start to do the things that I wanted to do, because they matter to me. They mattered to me, and what I thought of me and what I thought of the results now matter more than what someone else thinks. To give you an example from my career, there's been positions that I've gotten and promotions that I've gotten in my life where I thought that it was really good news for me and that it was a good move for me. And really it was, right? It's a great thing when you get promoted and when you get rewarded for your work. And I was very quick to run to tell a lot of people, a lot of them were friends, about this thing. And to my shock, they were not as excited as I was for it. And I could see it in their faces that it came as a shock, maybe. I don't know. But there wasn't the level of excitement that I thought that I would get from those people that I thought were good friends of mine. And I realized that I started to minimize those rewards and accomplishment because I would judge how good it was based off of how they reacted to it. Instead of me being confident and happy in what I've accomplished, it mattered more what they thought of my accomplishments. And looking back, that doesn't make any sense. That's actually kind of insane. And I can't believe that's something that I used to do, even subconsciously used to do. So when I learned now that being very careful, right, picking the right network, having the right mentors, coaches, and friends, having people that are for you and will be genuinely happy for you when you tell them this kind of news, but most importantly, being more intentional with you being happy with where you are in your accomplishments. You're going to be more at peace when you're happy with what you've done. And if you tell somebody else and they're not happy, fine, so be it. But if they're happy for you, it matters. It's awesome. It's wonderful. You take that, you cherish that. But what matters more should be what you think. Another great point is from a video I watched before by Simon Sinek, and he was talking about telling news to some of his friends and family. And he was specifically talking about how you should find friends and family that really are for you 100%. And one of the points that he made was that you want a friend or a family member in your life where when something super exciting happens in your life, you're just ready to tell them because you know they're just going to be just as excited as you are that you're going through this awesome thing. And finding those people, amazingly, is very difficult. And you'd be surprised at how few of those people you actually have in your life. Finding those people, building that network, and finding that true confidence to validate yourself is key to life. Lesson number 7 is building confidence. You have to build confidence. Confidence is key to everything. That is a lesson I have learned over the last couple of years, because without confidence, there's nothing you can accomplish, really. Without confidence, you're not going to accomplish your goals. And understanding that, really understanding that confidence is foundation. Let me explain a little bit in terms of mixed martial arts. A fighter who is very skilled, a fighter who has been practicing for a lot of years and they're a great fighter, and by all measures and aspects, they're one of the best fighters in the gyms, right? We're taking a theoretical example. You put them in a cage with someone who is averagely skilled, knows what they're doing, but they're not as good as that fighter, that top fighter in the gym. If that top fighter has no confidence in themselves, has no confidence in their skills, has no confidence in their ability to fight, even though from a outside perspective they look like the better fighter, 9 times out of 10, the less skilled but more confident fighter is probably going to win that fight, because for a fighter, confidence is everything. If you have no confidence as a fighter, you're going to have a very tough time versus somebody else who's very close to your skill level. Now, you might do very well versus people who are way below you in terms of skill, but if someone is close to you in skill and they have confidence, you don't have confidence, chances are you're going to lose. That's the same principle in philosophy in life. That's the same principle in your career, in getting promoted. Same principle in building a business, building a brand. You have to be confident, because if you're not confident, it's going to show. If you're not confident, you're not going to believe in yourself. You're not going to believe in your abilities. And as a result, you're not going to do anything. You're not going to accomplish anything. You're going to keep running against this wall where when things get hard, you're going to bash your head against it and just say, man, I'm just not good enough. If only I was better at this. If only I knew this a little bit more. If only I could do what he does, what she does. I just don't have it in me. You're going to keep bashing against that wall over and over and over again, and you will stay stagnant. You will stay right there until you figure out how to build confidence. Losing my first mixed martial arts amateur fight really taught me a lot about who I am as a person, and really taught me a lot about where my confidence level was, because bouncing back from that has taken longer than I thought it was, because I perceived myself as having a certain level of confidence, a little bit higher than really what it was. And by losing that fight in front of everybody, and now having to rebuild myself and get back into the ring, into the octagon, and to be the fighter that I was that night, and even better, I've realized that it's difficult to come back and to be more realistic about your confidence. And if I don't come back, if I don't rebuild that confidence and really have a solid foundation, I'm never going to step in the octagon again, because confidence is what allows you to go in there and do what you need to do as a fighter. When you don't have that, you are scared to get in the ring. So I'm taking that same principle and philosophy and putting it into every aspect of my life, into my job, into creating content, into building a brand, and now looking for ways to build confidence through work, to build confidence through repetition, through building the foundations, and every single day getting sharper, getting better, and learning and improving. Take some time to think about that. Look at your life, look at where your confidence level is, and start to really think about what you want to do and how that's holding you back, and start to explore ways to start to build that confidence, and you will watch yourself start to grow and become a much more confident and stronger person. Lesson number 8 might just be one of my favorite lessons, and one of probably the most enlightening lesson that I've gotten in life, and that is to learn how to outlast the competition. Meaning that everybody can outwork. Everybody can put in a ton of hours in working at something. Everybody can sacrifice things and work. Everybody can improve. If you want to, if you take the time to, you can improve. But there are those few that know how to outlast and stay in it for the long run. There are people that start things and go for a 6-month run where they do really, really good and they fizzle out. Go for a year run and they fizzle out. I was one of those people. And then there are those that go for 5-year runs, that go for 10-year runs, 20-year runs, 30-year runs. They start to outlast everybody around them. They outwork, they outimprove. They do everything that everybody else is doing, but the one thing that they do is that they stick with it. They're disciplined, they're regimented, and they go every single day. If you want to be a high performer in whatever you're doing, if you want to accomplish big goals, big audacious goals, you have to start to develop the appetite to stay in the game. the appetite to outlast, and you have to start to change the way that you think about strategy, vision, and mission. Instead of thinking about just 6 months, a year from now, you have to start to think in terms of decades. You're going to be in this thing for a decade. What are you going to do in the next decade? When is your next 10-year run, your next decade run, your next 20-year run? That's how you have to start to look at it. And that has changed the game for me completely, because now I look, or at least try to look at things from that perspective, where I'm going on 10-year runs, 20-year runs. What am I going to be doing 10 years from now? Who am I going to be 20 years from now? What do I want to have built and have accomplished 10, 20 years from now? Instead of just looking at 6 months alone, I'm learning to now outlast. And I think that's something that you need to start to consider and really start to look at, because that will change your whole entire perspective on life and how the game is played. Lesson number 9 is the power of visualization. I'll be completely honest with you. I never believed in visualizing for probably 3/4 of my 20s and before that. Naturally, instinctively, I did. I visualized all the time. I have a very imaginary mind, and I live in my mind a lot, which means I visualize a lot. But I never truly believed that I could visualize something and I could actually make or help make that thing manifest or come true by my actions, by the things that I do. Things started to change for me when I started to visualize myself learning something, accomplishing something, being something, building something, and then now putting in place the practical things every single day to do that thing. It's surprising how things start to align and start to work, and it feels like that vision is starting to come to me as opposed to me chasing it over and over again, and it keeps running away from me. One of my favorite quotes is from a mixed martial artist fighter, Conor McGregor, and he said one time when they interviewed him what he sees in himself and if he ever sees himself as a champion. And he said, of course I do. If you can see it, and if you can believe it, and if you can really feel it, your odds of becoming a champion skyrocket by multiple. And thinking along those lines now, as I work towards building out this content platform and my personal brand and business, if I cannot visualize it, if I cannot see it coming true, there's possibly no way I'm going to accomplish it. And for the better part of the decade now, I really didn't want to picture it. I really didn't want to believe it. Even though I said it, even though I told people that I was going to do it, I was going to build a business, run a business, I didn't want to visualize it because I was afraid that I might not make that vision come true, right? I was afraid in my abilities. I didn't have confidence, like what we talked about. I didn't have confidence in my abilities to execute and make those things come true. So it was scary to visualize it. And that held me back for so many years because I didn't believe in myself. Therefore, I didn't want to visualize it and have it come true because I was scared of it. It never did. It never manifested. It never came true. But the moment I realized that, started building that confidence, and now I'm visualizing it and realizing it, that I do have the ability to make that vision come true. And if I don't know something, I have the ability to learn and get help and surround myself with a network and have mentors, coaches, and people around me that can help me make this vision come true. Things are starting to happen for me, and things are starting to fall in line for me, and people are starting to come into my life and come into my network that are aligned with my core values and principles and are aligned with those things that I want to become. And I now start to see the ball rolling, and I can see that vision coming true and true and true each and every day. And my number one objective is to visualize and to execute and to work every single day to make that come true. So I encourage you to start to think more about visualizing. Think about where you want to be a year from now. Think about who you want to be a year from now and what you want to have accomplished. And think about that concept of outlasting who you want to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. What do you want to be doing? What do you want to build? What do you want to accomplish? Who do you want to be known for? If the 10-year-old you looked back, what do you want the 10 years from now old you to say to you? What do you want the person you're going to be 20 years from now to look back and say to you and that you have accomplished? Start to visualize all those things. And when you visualize, you start to feel it. When you feel it, you start to now take action every single day, because those things start to become real for you. Lesson number 10 really kind of puts everything into perspective and puts everything together and ties it up real nice. And that is to embrace failure. One of the things that I have vowed to do this year is to fail fast. Meaning that I got tired of being afraid to fail and not having confidence in my abilities and skills and caring about what other people thought as opposed to what I thought. So that kept me back so much from accomplishing things in my life. It kept me from even starting this podcast and launching this platform on YouTube. It kept me from building certain businesses or telling people I was building certain businesses. It even kept me stagnant in my career because I was afraid to go for that promotion that I didn't feel like I was qualified for. And when I changed my mindset to vow to fail fast and to attack failure and to just keep going, get all the failures out of the way as fast as possible, it's amazing just how many of those things I started to accomplish. I started to post episodes online. I started to make content. I got a promotion at work, and that's a job that I didn't think I was qualified for at the time, but I actually in reality had all the skills to do it. I'm starting to build out this business and personal brand, and now doing things like mixed martial arts that I never thought 5 years ago you would find me fighting in an octagon in front of hundreds of people. That's because I've chosen that I want to fail fast. And Will Smith once said that the greatest things in life are on the opposite side of fear. I want to experience those greatest things in life. I don't want to be on the side of fear. I want to be on the side of those greatest things in life. And that's the place that you should want to be as well. And most of you want to be that way. The hardest thing is to confront that wall that is fear. And that's something you have to get honest with yourself and really figure out, is that something you want to do? Once you become fearless, life becomes limitless. That's a quote by Dan Pena. Once you become fearless, life becomes limitless. Think what that means. Everything that you want to do and that you're too scared to do in your life, it's because you're afraid. Imagine if you were not afraid. What would you do? If you were not afraid to do that thing that you want to do right now, what would your life look like? That's a very, very empowering thing to think about. When I think about those things and I take away the fear aspect of it, man, there is so many things I want to do, and there's so many things that I would do if only I didn't hold myself back because I was afraid. If something is important enough, you will do it even if the odds are not in your favor. Think about that sentence right there. Embody that sentence. Live by that sentence. Remind yourself every single day. If something is important enough to me, I will do it even if the odds are not in my favor. And that is how I've chosen to live my life. Go back through these life lessons and really look at each key takeaway and what you can implement in your life right now. Watch part 2 of the 3-part video series to learn how to outwork, out-strategize, and outlast everyone around you so that you have a higher chance to accomplish your big goals and objectives. Watch the next part in this playlist right here. Like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to be notified for my future content, and as always, have a wonderful day.